Hi, I'm Luke Stratton, creator of Pirate Borg.
And I be the pirate wizard Limithron. Welcome aboard the ship of the dead.
Here are my top 10 tips for running a pirate campaign. Let's dig in. Start with Session 0. Pirate campaigns can be quite a bit different than medieval fantasy settings, and Session 0 is the perfect time to discuss this. Pirates were, after all, thieves and murderers, so there's bound to be some topics that come up that not everybody is interested exploring at the game table. Remember, while you might want to run a historical, grimdark, 6-month character arc campaign, your players might want to do a few one-shots where they play as talking rats and parrots and drink all the rum and kill everybody. It's best to get on the same page with your players before you get into an uncomfortable situation. Topics worth discussing might include intended length of the campaign, GM fiat, deadliness of the system, style of play, and content warnings for things like violence, religion, sexual content, substance abuse, etc., etc. You get the idea. Also, if you're playing Pirate Borg, make sure your players know there's a lot less rules and a lot more player freedom, but also that the system can be very deadly.
Prepare your players.
Number 2. Rulings over rules. I recommend that the table put their faith in the GM and let them manage situations that aren't outlined in the rules. I'm a big believer in the idea that more rules at the table leads to less imaginative gameplay. Everyone has a memory for a time they had a really exciting idea for their next turn just to have it fail from a tough skill check, or even worse, be shot down by the GM altogether. Let your players swing from the rigging during combat or jump heroically from that cathedral spire just to land gracefully in a cart full of hay. No rolling required. If you're running Pirate Borg, remember that there are no skills. There are no attacks of opportunity. There are no concentration checks. There's no penalty for difficult terrain. There's no partial cover. Just use your instincts and follow your players. If something's really hard, ask for an ability check. You'll need to learn to think on your feet and become a neutral and consistent rules arbiter. But I promise, if you master this style of play, you and your players will love not having to stop the action to look up rules, and you'll really quickly find yourselves in some really cool, unique, and exciting situations. Also, if you're not playing Pirate Borg for your pirate campaign, check out Pirate Borg. It's my rules-light, rum-infested, undead-ridden pirate RPG, available at the link below. Rule number 3, default to yes. If you've ever taken an improv class or you've seen an improv comedy show, you know the number one rule is default to yes and. Now, of course, you have to maintain some consistency for your setting, I guess.
Okay, so I'm gonna take off my wizard hat and I'm gonna pull out a magic +3 bazooka of undoing, and I'm gonna blast that skeleton into little tiny bits. No roll required. Right?
How about no? I found that if you embrace the idea of saying yes to your players instead of no or make a check, you'll quickly find everybody at the table having more fun. Also, dice roll should be important, suspenseful, and exciting. Never guard important information, or even worse, boring, useless information behind dice rolls. What are they going to do if they fail? Do they have to sit around and wait to re-roll again? Can somebody else do it? Do they just, go around the table and keep rolling? Why don't you just skip the part where they have to ask and get right to the action and then the fun part? That's what we're all here for anyway. Which brings me to my next point. Go big now. In a pirate campaign, there's so many opportunities for adventuring. You've got treasure hunts, shipwrecks, naval fleet combats,
Taking over a fort, taking over a town, becoming friends with the Kraken.
My advice is don't save the best for last. Let them steal that ship of the line or conquer the fort. Use the best thing you have planned as soon as possible. I promise you, more ideas will flow, and you never know how long your campaign is going to last. People's schedules change. They move and get new jobs. They have kids.
Lose interest?
Make it as memorable as possible as soon as possible. Oh, hey, before I get to the next one, do me a big favor and just smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and throw a little comment down there. You'd be surprised how much it helps a new channel like this one. Number 5, reward good player decisions and behavior. Inspiration or devil's luck, special feats, homebrew magic items, relics, hand these things out like candy. Good role-playing, clever problem-solving, out-of-the-box thinking, and strong teamwork, these behaviors should be encouraged and rewarded. Make magic spells, ancient relics, and arcane rituals easy to find and use. Also, pirates live short and dangerous lives. Let your players level up frequently. I like to let new PCs level up after the first major encounter. In my opinion, treasure should be easy come, easy go. Give them 5 million pieces of 8 and see what happens. Watch them struggle as they try to drag 100 chests of silver to their ship, and then send every pirate and privateer and naval fleet in the ocean after them. If the ship sinks, recovering the treasure is obviously the next mission, and in my opinion, you haven't played a proper pirate campaign until you've marooned your players on a desert island. Number 6, don't pull your punches. I roll almost all my dice in the open, and I let my players roll dice for me whenever possible. Let them roll for monster damage dice, or have each player roll one of the die rolls for one of the random generators. These rolls will matter, but by having your players roll for them, you'll also be building suspense, and you can watch as the entire group shakes in horror at even the sight of a natural one, even if that means good things for them and they don't know it. Which brings me to my next point. Use random like a poker player. Random tables are amazing. Right now in my Dark Caribbean playtest campaign, my players are planning a major heist involving stealing a small box from the bedside table of a noble Englishwoman who is romantically entangled with the dreaded Black Bart Roberts. The trick is, they can't get into combat, and the thing they don't know, another crew is already on the job. All this from a few rolls on a job and quest generator. But consider hiding or revealing your randomness like a poker player might muck or reveal a bluff or winning hand. Using random tables can be a hilarious group activity at the table, but your players will never know if that huge climactic event that changed the status quo for the entire campaign all came from a table, unless you tell them.
Sometimes I like to be rolling lots of dice behind the screen just to be making them sweat, when really I'm just unfolding me master plan I've been working on for months.
Number 8. Naval fleet combat is fun. Naval combat is an essential part of any pirate campaign worth its salt. But have you ever tried giving your players an entire fleet of ships?
Now you're speaking me language.
Even if it only happens once or twice in the entire campaign, you have to let your players try out naval fleet combat. Maybe your players are teaming up with a court of pirate lords for a raid on a major city, and your players have been given temporary control of some larger ships.
Or maybe they've got a letter of marque from one of the nations, and they're traveling escorting some merchants, and there's a bunch of ships out there, but then they're attacked by a giant ghost ship with skeletons, flaming skeletons, yeah, and an undead megalodon for a pet.
You don't need to turn your campaign into a war game, but one big encounter that spreads out over the entire table is sure to be memorable. Also, if your players do have a small fleet, it can lead to domain level play where you can have actions between sessions where they send ships out on trading missions or to raid ports without having to act them out or be there themselves. Number 9, don't be afraid to sink ships. In my opinion, you haven't really run a proper seafaring campaign until you've destroyed the thing that your players love the absolute most, their ship. Don't be worried if they capture the largest ship in the port. The Kraken is always a threat, and a critical hit could always ignite the powder magazine and explode the entire ship.
Can you say save or die?
If you're playing D&D 5th edition, check out LIMITHRON'S Guide to Naval Combat. It's my streamlined rules light supplement that gives all your players options every turn and lets you customize ships using the Monsters Manual. It's available both in free and in print versions in the links below and includes ship tokens and battle maps. 10. Steal like a pirate. There's a lot of great media out there revolving around pirate stories and tropes. Video games, movies, and books are a great place to get ideas for locations, quests, and NPCs. For movies, there's obviously Pirates of the Caribbean, but also check out the series Black Sails. For video games, I love Sea of Thieves, the Monkey Island series, and Sid Meier's Pirates. And of course, check out books like On Stranger Tides, my favorite book of all time, and Captain Blood and the forever classic Treasure Island. Video game strategy guides are also a great resource. As an example, this is a strategy guide to Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Did I mention I've completed 100% of the achievements in that game? Pirate wizard.
I can take a mission, NPC, or plot hook right out of this book and drop it in my game, maps and all. Not only are they great for coming up with ideas for your campaign, but video game strategy books and concept art books make for great visual aids at your table. I'm also adding a link below to LIMITHRON'S Pirate Media Database. It's a Google spreadsheet with links to all kinds of pirate content. I've got books, movies, TV shows, comic books, and even RPG adventures that are known to fit well into pirate adventures. Pirate Borg, my rules light, scurvy, rum-infested RPG is available in retail stores and at limithron.com. My next project, The Dark Caribbean, which will have books for both 5th edition and Pirate Borg and Old School Essentials, is coming to Kickstarter this fall. Check the links below to follow along. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in supporting the channel, or you just want to get your grubby little pirate hands on as much pirate content as you can for your games, check out my Patreon at limithron.com/Patreon.